Before their name became a legend, the weapons of the Navy SEALs were shaped by history, by necessity, and by war itself. From the humid jungles of Southeast Asia to the arid deserts of the Middle East, every conflict left its mark. It didn't just shape the men who fought, it forged the arms they carried. This evolution of SEAL weaponry is a living record of changing battlefields, emerging threats, and lessons paid for in blood. Today, we're taking a historical journey through the arsenal of America's most elite maritime warriors, exploring the weapons they carried into combat, era by era. The story begins in the crucible of the Vietnam War. This is where the modern Navy SEAL was born, created to fight a new kind of war. Maritime guerrilla conflict demanded small, agile units that could operate where conventional forces couldn't. In the dense, unforgiving jungle, early SEALs carried the M16 rifle. It was lightweight, and its high rate of fire was invaluable in sudden, close quarters. But in the tight confines of jungle trails and village huts, submachine guns were king. The Swedish K, and later the iconic MP5, allowed SEALs to move with deadly quiet through enemy territory. For ambushes and clearing rooms, nothing beat the raw power of a shotgun. Classics like the Ithaca 37 and the Remington 870 were favored for their devastating effectiveness at short range, and for a sidearm the legendary M1911A1 was the pistol of choice. This .45 caliber workhorse was trusted for its sheer reliability in the harsh, wet, and muddy conditions that SEALs faced every single day. As the world moved from the jungles of Vietnam into the tense standoff of the Cold War, the role of the SEALs expanded dramatically. Their missions now included counter-terrorism, daring shipboardings, and high-stakes hostage rescues. During this era, one weapon came to define the SEALs, the Heckler & Koch MP5. Its compact size, accuracy, and control made it perfect for precision raids. Suppressed versions were used when stealth was paramount, especially in situations where civilian lives hung in the balance. The M16A2 rifle was still in service, but experience was teaching a hard lesson. Full-length rifles were often too cumbersome for the tight spaces of urban combat. This led to a growing demand for shorter, more maneuverable weapons. Carbines began to replace rifles as the default choice for city-based operations. The evolution of their pistols mirrored this trend. The Sig Sauer P226 was adopted, a pistol renowned for its incredible durability, reliability, and accuracy right out of the box. It quickly became the standard-issue SEAL sidearm, a trusted companion that would serve for decades through countless operations around the globe. This period marked a critical shift in SEAL tactics and the gear they relied on, moving from jungle warfare to the precise, fast-paced world of special operations. By the 1990s and the end of the Cold War, the lessons learned from urban combat had solidified. Special operations demanded a new standard weapon, one built for speed and adaptability. The M4 carbine was the answer. It was shorter than the M16, modular, and incredibly versatile. It allowed individual SEALs to customize their weapon with optics, lights, lasers, and suppressors, tailoring it perfectly to the unique demands of each mission. An even shorter variant, the MK18, became the go-to weapon for the most confined spaces. It was an absolute specialist for shipboarding operations and aggressively clearing rooms, where every inch of barrel length mattered. The rise of these carbines wasn't just a change in hardware, it represented a fundamental shift in doctrine. Speed, flexibility, and surgical precision were now valued over raw, indiscriminate firepower. Throughout their entire history, one tradition has remained constant for the SEALs, an unwavering reliance on precision rifles. Marksmanship is at the core of their identity. During the late Cold War and especially in the post-9/11 conflicts, sniper rifles played a decisive role. Weapons like the MK11 Mod 0 and the MK12 Special Purpose Rifle, or SPR, gave SEALs the ability to deliver incredibly accurate fire at extended ranges. When operations moved to the vast open landscapes of Afghanistan and Iraq, long-range engagements became the norm. SEAL snipers employed rifles like the M110 SASS and the formidable MK13. They even used heavy, 50 caliber sniper rifles, capable of engaging targets from over a mile away. These powerful tools allowed small teams to observe, control, and shape the battlefield long before the enemy even knew they were there, giving them an unparalleled advantage. Operating in small teams deep behind enemy lines meant SEALs often faced overwhelming odds. To survive, they needed weapons that could deliver a massive volume of sustained fire. This is where light machine guns like the Mk46 and the Mk48 came in. These weapons provided a torrent of firepower that could suppress and overwhelm a numerically superior enemy force, allowing the team to break contact or assault a position. For maritime operations, mounted weapons were just as vital. The legendary M250 caliber heavy machine gun and the M240 medium machine gun were staples on their boats and vehicles. They were crucial for protecting the team during insertions, extractions, and convoy security missions, providing a powerful defensive screen when it was needed most. Even with the rise of advanced carbines and machine guns, the humble shotgun never disappeared from the SEAL arsenal. Its role simply evolved. The modern Benelli M4 became a new standard, prized for its semi-automatic fire and rock-solid reliability, especially for breaching doors and in brutal close-quarters fights. At the same time, older pump-action models were kept in the inventory. In situations where absolute simplicity and foolproof dependability were the top priorities, they were still trusted to get the job done. This blend of old and new shows a practical, results-driven approach to their gear. If it works, it stays. That same practicality drove the evolution of their systems. By the late 2010s, a major transition occurred. The SEALs moved away from the heavy metal-framed pistols that had served them for decades, like the P226, and adopted modern polymer frame designs. The Glock 19 officially became the new standard-issue sidearm. This change reflected a broader military trend toward weapons that were lighter, simpler to maintain, and held more ammunition, all qualities perfectly suited for the dynamic nature of modern combat. It was another step in a constant process of refinement, ensuring every piece of gear was optimized for performance. Of course, small arms alone can't win every fight. To counter armored vehicles, bunkers, and fortified positions, SEALs have always employed a range of heavy weapons and explosive launchers. Grenade launchers like the M203, mounted under the barrel of a rifle, and the standalone M320 gave individual operators the ability to put explosive rounds on target. For bigger threats, they relied on anti-armor weapons. The single-shot AT-4 and the reusable, incredibly versatile Carl Gustaf recoilless rifle gave these small teams the power to destroy enemy vehicles and fortified structures without having to call for air support. These tools are force multipliers, giving a handful of operators the punch of a much larger force. The history of Navy SEAL weapons isn't a story of chasing the newest, flashiest technology for its own sake. It is a story of deliberate, hard-won adaptation. Every rifle, pistol, and machine gun that entered their armory did so because the battlefield demanded it. Each piece of gear tells a story, a lesson learned in a distant jungle, a city street, or a desolate mountain range. From the rivers of Vietnam to the global war on terror, these weapons are more than just tools. They are a physical chronicle of how the Navy SEALs evolved, quietly, relentlessly, and always in lockstep with the ever-changing face of modern warfare. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this history as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into military history and technology. Let us know in the comments which piece of SEAL gear you find most iconic. See you in the next one.